Welcome to part 3 of the Golden TAYA. I have my kitty on my lap, so you're probably going to hear a little purring, but it shouldn't disturb anything. Even though I've titled this the Golden TAYA, I've obviously gone into some areas that aren't directly related, like the spiral tower. However, I'm feeling guided to do it that way because it seems as if the energies of these other aspects are intricately woven into the whole reasoning for having light codes translate from the very physical planet that we're in now to the new Earth version of the future, although future really isn't the right word for it. So I'm just going to follow guidance and include this last part to the Golden TAYA series, which is about revisiting the Talmud. Now, the Talmud, I realize, is a Hebraic text in all of this, but that's not what this is about. Thoth is given that name to a crystal. Why, I don't know exactly, but that's what he's calling it. And this is from 1995 issue of Temple Doors, but it's referring back in some places to 1986 source issue. So we have both of these sort of blended into this article. And as I read it, of course, I'll be making commentary, putting it into perspective of 2018. So we begin from quoting from Temple Doors 386 from Thoth, who states, "The land and ocean area risen or translated from this dimension, originally in Peru, in which is contained the first true Ark of the Covenant, we shall refer to here as the risen sea." Now I want to stop a moment and let's go back. Okay, we're talking about the sacred On. Now, the sacred On has traveled a lot of places on this planet. They don't pick it up and carry it. They did at one time. It is translated from one place to another as it becomes less and less a physical object and more energy dynamic. So at the time, in 1986, it's referring to where the Ark was then, the sacred On was then located, which was not at all even in a physical location. Now, I've been told recently that even though the On is in this slightly dimensional, really removed point within the Crest and the Stone mountain range here, something that I was told would occur many, many years ago, and now has, it really is still within this risen sea dynamic. The two have kind of blended together. Remember, we're dealing with a quantum universe. So you can't say the Ark is just here. You know, it's just over here or just there. And within its slightly dimensionally removed point in the thresholding chamber of Crest and the Stone, it still maintains a frequency presence in the area called the Risen Sea, because that is a point of coalescing the energies of the Ark from all points, everywhere it's traveled, into one ultra-dimensional place. I don't even want to use the word place, but we will for now. So it's here, and it's there, and it's everywhere. So here we go. Let's go back to this again. The land and ocean area risen or translated from this dimension originally in Peru. Now, we know about Ruta, the ascended Isle of Ruta from Atlantis, but apparently other places have ascended too. And one of these is what they're saying that was originally in Peru. Now, they don't all form the same function as the Ruta one. The Ruta one's special. We've already been through that, and it's a major special place. But that said, obviously, any place that holds the dimension of the ark as a point of reference for the entire state of its being is also pretty special. So again, within the caverns of the ark, there is suspended the Talmud, a diamond-shaped blue quartz crystal. Near the Talmud crystal is the Tychon flame, that's Tychon, a large beam of high energy lasers streaming upward from a white stone lotus. Here we have the lotus again. The Tychon is a balancer and rectifier of the energies. It stabilizes the dimension in which the risen sea abides and maintains a frequency of parity between the ark and its parallel vector, this dimension. The Talmud crystal is more complex to interpret. Its entire workings are not given at this time, but it operates in conjunction with the Tychon. It absorbs light into elemental conformity, all the while accelerating the quantum of light transfer, which in turn refines the entire process of light to spirit through its systems. The Tychon flame is liquid light, held back a moment from the rush of time. Let me try that again. In it is contained the record of humanity's passing in the earth. This knowledge is channeled through the crystal Talmud as divine law. It is segmented into verses of consciousness, each motion given a separate dialogue in time. The many souls incarnating again and again are the embellishment, the notes in a concert of spirit consuming flesh, singing in the flame of life that dwells but a moment with the reality of the soul. Now that's pretty heavy stuff, I'll admit. I don't pretend to really understand it all myself, but the Talmud in this sense is some kind of book. It's a crystal book, and it contains living light consciousness of the events at hand. In other words, see, spot, run is not just words in the Talmud. It is an energy presence, an activational force, a frequency of constant reverberation through space-time. So now I've made it perfectly clear, right? Okay. The stages of soul evolution in Earth are divided within the crystal into 4 sacred major parts, equivalent to the four forces of the universe, the 4 elements of the alchemical Earth, and the 4 sons of Horus. S-O-N-S, of Horus. I give you 4 words to speak, each a trigger to a 4th segment of the crystal. As you speak each word, take several minutes upon that word before proceeding to the next in order that you may place yourself into memory rhythm with that stage in your soul's evolution. Bring into your consciousness a visualization in tune with that experience. Proceed through the 4 sacred words, applying this memory. Now, what I plan to do when I finish reading all of this is make one more video in the series, and it's going to be a short one, but it will be an activational video, and it will contain these words in a proper way so that you can get involved with them and, tune into it a little better. But right now, I'm just going to read you the words, so don't try to do anything right now, because I'm really going to make this other video that will help you get in league with these words. They're very simple words: origin, tribulation, transformation, and light. Thoth tells about the golden egg. This object was the size and shape of half of an ostrich egg. The egg was of alchemical gold, both inside and out. A layer of crystalline material pressed in between these two layers. On the uneven edge of the break were tiny golden circuitry embedded within the crystal filling. We were told by Thoth that this object was half of the entire unit. This half, with our help, no doubt the enlistment of other sources as well, would be translated from the dimension of the risen sea to this dimension. It would appear partly buried in a specific region of the Americas, to be found by a certain envoy or party unknown to us. The second half of the golden egg would be brought through at a future date and eventually united with the first half. When brought together, the circuitry would be complete, and the Ark of the Covenant would be translated via this device into our dimension. Now, this is an interesting point here. So I'm going to pause for a moment and ask Thoth about it. Now, I'm reading this for the first time in a long, long, long time. And I'm going, well, the Ark is already over here in the crest and the stone. So how does this relate? Now, this is, again, this would be back in 1986. And when I'm saying we were told, actually I was told, but I was with my group at the time. I had a physical in-person group in my home, and we were working with these things. So let me just take a moment and see what comes forth. Okay, well, actually I'm getting ahead of myself because there's more information here from 1995 updating that. So let's not get too ahead of myself here. Let's go back. Let's go back and go back to where I was reading. The guardians of the sacred grounds, high souls who once lived, and many who are still living, inner and outer earth, as great white shamans, as opposed to black art shamans, are gathering in the sacred places. They are awakening the magic of their ages in the earth, following the dream path for earth awakening. They are closer at this time to our reality. All is stirring from the ancient vaults and mines of direction from long ago. Now, that's the end of the 1989 quote. And in 1994, I am saying, in 1989, the Ark of Grace, the true Ark, was translated into a chamber in Mount Sinai, yet it remains undescended in its full unfoldment. In 1994, the 4 tablet fragments brought down from Mount Sinai were transported into the medicine wheel, a region of the United States with its center at the 4 corners. Now, that's because I physically brought them here. You know, there's the whole story about how the fragments, Thoth told me that the fragments would be found on Mount Sinai by my friend and on 8/8/88, and she was to pick them up and bring them back to me. And indeed, that's exactly what happened. So these are very physical, real fragments. And I have them now, and I had them and brought them into the medicine wheel back in 1994 as prescribed by Thoth at the time. In ancient days, these fragments had been charged by the Ark of Grace and were to create an energetic field within the Valley of the Golden Disk, here, the San Luis Valley of Colorado, the outer rim of the medicine wheel, for the coming of the Ark of Grace into a thresholding chamber within the San Luis Cristo Mountains bordering the valley. At some point in time, after the Ark is brought into the thresholding chamber, it will be translated into this dimension. The plot thickens. Okay, let's keep reading. So Thoth's 1995 update on the Ark of Grace, the Risen Sea, the Talmud, and the Taichan flame, and the golden egg. So this is what he had to say in 1995. The Risen Sea is the dimension that contains the chamber wherein the Talmud and Taichan are maintained. Originally in Peru, it ascended from your dimension in 1200 BC. This small region of only 3½ miles across was the location of a group of Hyperborean Atlanteans known as the Atlanagas. No, I'm not doing that right. Atlan Agas. I think I got it right in the first place. They were related to the Rutan Atlanteans, Hyperborean, and contained more Syrian genetics with closer resemblance to the lion ones, the family of Pashat, Zoomer, Sunlords, etc. With their human lionese features, they kept to their own remote area of South America, communing only infrequently with the Rutans. Their focus on the planet was to maintain the Talmud and Taichan, brought to this world from Sirius eons ago. The Talmud and Taichan held the calibration patterns for the foundation stars, those sun stars in the universe, which form the Zuvuya, or return path of spirit, to the center of the universe. It is to this center that we all must return. The major guardians for this quadrant of the universe are Sirius, the Pleiades, and Orion. All three of these stellar, turn page, guardians have fallen zones within them, the guardianship remaining within the undescended regions. In 12500 BC, before the eruption of the Atlantean time grid causing the Kali time rift, the 3.5 miles of the Atlan Agas was translated into another dimension to protect the Talmud and Taichan from violation, as it was known by the guardians that the tear in time would soon be outpictured through the Atlantean grid. Major configurations in the karmic balance of the planet took place in the year 12500 BC, which set the schematic in place for the ascension of what we call the risen sea. Those who now have the first half of the golden egg are presently in New Mexico. They are called the Sarillia from the Pleiades. There are some of the star ones who walk amongst you. They are some of the star ones who walk amongst you. The second half of the computer device is at Mount Blanca, part of the Sangre de Cristo in the Valley of the Golden Disk. It will be revealed and brought together with the other segment in the future. You will be in communication telepathically with the Sarillia and work with them on a related project soon. Well, that didn't happen, but maybe soon, and Thoth's timeline is a lot longer than it is in mine. Excuse me, sorry about that. So here we go. The Talmud blue diamond crystal is actually not a full quartz mineralogically. It is a combination of both quartz and lithium and resonates at a frequency beyond both. The flashing double diamond in place at the gateway of the vortex of the golden star Templamar at Christum Baca in the Valley of the Golden Disk is an energetic aligned to the Talmud as a sacred geometry interface. Now, this golden star Templamar, this is an aspect of the Templamar matrix. Remember, we spoke about that before, and that aspect of it is here. It's just like there's so many things here. It's like I have to make a grocery list to keep track of it, but that is one of the things that is here. And it is saying that, what is it saying? The flashing double diamond in place at the gateway of the vortex is an energetically aligned to the Talmud as a sacred geometry interface. So then I ask briefly, how can humanity work with the Talmud and Taichan flame for personal and planetary evolution? Thoth is saying first, by visualizing the blue diamond crystal in the Taichan flame, then focusing upon the words given, origin, tribulation, transformation, and light, working with these procedures as given above. Now, he's going on and giving some information here. So what I'm going to do is this is what I'm going to put in the next video. I'm going to put it in form of a, an activational, meditational energy thing. And it'll be short, but it's something that you can work with separately from reading all of this. But what I want to do now is I want to go to Thoth about these eggs and about bringing this in fully, bringing the sacred on fully into this dimension. So that's now I'm going to take a few moments and go to him and see what we come up with on that regard. Well, what I'm receiving is that the uniting of the two egg halves that allows the sacred on to come into this dimension once again, fully into this dimension. It's slightly removed now, but it's still not entirely within this dimension, is something that's yet to come. And I don't know, it may not even be in my lifetime, but my soul is obviously going to be working with it. It cannot take place until the planet itself is in a particular vibrational register that it is not in yet. And this particular area will be in that register before any of the other areas on the planet. And the reason for that is because it's the crown chakra of the Ascension Temple, plain and simple. So this is the reason that it's not happening yet. From the perspective of Thoth and the whole, energies that I work with on those levels, this is so far beyond what we understand is linear time and now presence and all of this, that it's working on many, many different dimensions at one time. What I'm receiving in words through my little brain is coming from all these different dimensions, all these sequencings at once. So it is difficult. That's why it's so difficult to form a timeline in regard to what is going to happen when. So I just kind of leave it at that and say that this whole thing is very much to be continued. Now, I had wanted to address the gates I'm having a brain freeze here. The Ascension Temple, the gates of the Ascension Temple that are beyond the crown chakra. But I think that I'm going to put that in a separate video series because it just goes off sort of in another direction. It's related, of course, everything's related, but I'm just going to wait and follow that through in another series. But so I believe that this is really kind of concludes this one, except for this little extra video that I'm going to make so that you can kind of get into the feel of meditating with or forming a connection to the whole Talmud Taichan thing. And it's just a sort of a beginner note because you can do it in your own way. But what I will be giving you is just a sort of a basic recipe to start with. So once again, thank you for listening.